know if I should be doing that.
Depends on how you approach it.
Right. I can say, well, yeah, because I usually say, this is what I do when I'm in that. I don't know if I should be.
Then that's good, because I mean, if I go to somebody and say, you need to eat this, 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 and this, it's against the law.
Right. Because I'm not.
If I say you need to eat protein, here's a list of different proteins. Yeah, it's different. All right.
Yeah. So I just put it back on whatever you do to support yourself in this blah, blah, blah. Maybe you want to look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you suggest it, or?
I suggested,
yeah,
that this is something that, may be supportive to you, whatever that is for you. I thought, typically I'll say, blah, 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 this helpful, like we do in our group.
Yeah.
But I was like, wait a minute, I have to look at this as if I am a coach. So yeah, since I'm not an herbalist or anything like that, I just said, whatever you typically do for XYZ, you may want to see if that resonates, if you could take it. I didn't say to take it, but look into it.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's okay to say, I found that blah, blah, blah works, but it's a personal thing of whether it's a good idea for them, or, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I offer up things, but, I'm always saying, but I'm not diagnosing, and I don't,
right.
I'm not prescribing. Like, I should have that like on my t-shirt, because
disclaimer.
Like, yeah, I say it all the time, but then I also do offer up, things that, I've found that work, or.
Right. I mean, I can see,
yeah,
I can see that.
Okay. Yeah. And
because
the other part of this is like, that exactly what Christina said. I'm not a physician. You may want to go check with your doctor, make sure it's okay. Sometimes you have to do that.
Yeah.
And they'll poo-poo it, like, nah, but you've done your job.
Right.
You've covered your base. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that just made me go, because typically I'll just roll it off my tongue. And I thought I stopped myself, and I thought, okay, nope, don't do that. Just, put it back on her to.
Good.
What's wrong?
Somebody
I have no idea. I mean, I know it's a little windy out there, but not to knock something over. Did you see my post? Not post. I guess it was a post.
I don't think I have you on my Facebook.
Oh, I did it in the group, the program. Group? I had made a comment that last night I was sitting down and I heard the wind blowing again. I didn't think it was blowing that hard. And it was almost like something was rustling, tussling on my roof. And the image I got was a dragon.
Oh.
And I thought, well, that's weird, but okay. So I mentioned it to my friend I was chatting with, and I got chills all over my body. I was like, that's my confirmation. But what the hell are you doing here? And yesterday I got a picture on my camera of the sun beaming on my house that I've never seen it beam like that before. That was earlier that day, and I thought that was weird, but okay. But yeah, that cool. Was weird just now. Like, that was awfully loud, but okay.
Dragons are good people.
Yeah.
Really good people.
Did you talk to your dragon? Did you like?
I did not. Well, I did. What I said was, if you're here to support and help me, because I went back and read her post, and she said they're here to assist us. I said, I'm open to any assistance I could be, as long as you have, and I remember what Megan says in terms of healed. So I was just like, anybody, you know, if you're a healed dragon that's here to help the better good of everyone, I'm here to be in service. So if you want to work with me.
Then what happened?
I don't know. I mean, I started talking to my friend again. I didn't sit there to listen or whatever, because I was in the middle of chatting with her. I just knew I'll put it out there and let it go.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, let's see what happens.
Yeah. That was
Dragons are
weird.
cool.
I think it's really cool.
Very cool. I thought I'd share this. I haven't like explored this too much because I like to do things intuitively before I put them up, but this
Oh, I
symbol
like that.
here, it doesn't look very traditional, right? But it really caught my eye. And
Which one?
oh, I'm sorry, it's this one, the one with
Yes.
the flower.
Mhm.
And
And what is that? Is that a Reiki symbol?
it's a Reiki symbol. I have this book that has lots of like non-traditional Reiki symbols in it. And this one, what it says is it's for anesthesia.
Hmm.
So the symbol was received by Shambhala Reiki master teacher Susan Isabel of New Hampshire. Once drawn over the client, the symbol takes on a three-dimensional shape. Practitioners slowly push the symbol into the body to ease and numb pain. Note the petals are drawn with the infinity loop motion. The 6 petals are created by 3 infinity loops. So the cool thing, like I was sitting here playing with it. If you if I put it closer, can you see the numbers?
Yeah, lift it up. Yeah. Can you lift it up? Can I take a picture of it?
I was going to say, hold on right there.
Yeah, of course.
2, 4.
I'm going to post it in the Reiki 3 modules too.
Nice.
Very good.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Oh, I am.
So when I was sitting here, I only played with it for a few minutes before my last appointment, but when I was playing with it, I felt like the bottom part of the symbol kind of like made the like where you were putting the symbol down, almost like a passageway or something, like an entering kind of thing. And then I felt like the petals were almost like I don't know, they made like an action, like they were going down into where that place was already open. And then when you start to spin it, I could feel it in my body. I don't know. I really liked I was drawn to it. And then when I did it, it just felt, I don't know, very soothing.
Mm.
So, and I opened up the book and I'm like, what do I want? What symbol do I want to put this week? And I opened it right up to that and I'm like, wow, I like the idea of it, to ease pain, and the whole purpose of it is to ease pain. So,
That's cool.
and it was probably just intuited by, somebody. This one's cool too.
Oh, I love that. I would
That's
want that as
different.
a tattoo.
I know.
What is that one?
Whoa.
It's called the dragonfly. This symbol is used to break through the illusion of life and see clearly.
See?
It calls upon the dragonfly animal medicine. When used on the throat, it helps you speak without illusions. It also helps you connect to your inner child. The symbol was received by Jessica Arasalt in the UK.
I want to take a picture of that one as well.
Yeah, hold on right there.
Yeah, I would have want that.
Got it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of symbols in here, so I figured I'm gonna keep like putting them in the vault.
Good idea.
And when you turn it all the way different ways, it is cool. just turn the page different ways and you just,
Lost it. It is really cool.
yeah. Hmm.
Is that book called Non-Traditional Reiki Symbols?
It's the magic of Reiki.
Okay, let's see.
I went to Barnes and Noble too, because I've been doing so much Reiki stuff. I'm like, you know, it would be nice to have a book that I could look through for different things to share with people. And it was the only book that Barnes and Noble had. So I got it. Plus it's purple, which is my color. Like
I
the
love
whole
purple.
desk is covered with like purple stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know, it goes with my aesthetic. But it's a lot to do with like mixing together magic, like Wicca with Reiki. And I don't know, I really like the book. It's good.
I was listening to somebody the other day and they were talking about, what Christ did between 12 and 33. And they were saying that he traveled all the way into the East and learning Reiki and reconnective healing and all that, those other, modalities, which I think is super cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In the story of like Dr. Usui was like his motivation to understand how Jesus healed people
It's
with
the
his
stuff people
hands.
don't know, which drives it. It's fascinating to me that people don't know this.
I know. And you know what is so cool? I hadn't really thought about this till a few months ago. I was watching this video and this woman was talking about attunement. No, it was a guy was talking about attunements. And he teaches, when he's doing attunements, he teaches people how to do the attunement on themselves. And because these original teachers who are able, to like teach it to other people, where did they get it? They like acquired it, like these people get the other symbols. And, he went out looking for a particular thing and was given it in a clear enough way to be able to do it and give it to other people. So for us as healers to take the responsibility of doing the attunement for ourselves instead of having someone else, in the process, I thought was really cool. So that's what the last month of our attunement, you're going to be doing your attunements for yourself.
Cool.
I thought that was a really good idea. I have a new tattoo, so I have to uncover my, I can't have my sweater over it.
Oh, you have a new tattoo?
My daughter, I don't know if you'll be able to, it's a bowling hat.
Yes.
And under it, it says capital. So it's from the Little Women book.
Oh, cool.
Which is one of my daughter's favorite books. So she got one with the book, like the old-fashioned looking book that says it's romance. This is what the publisher wanted her to marry off the like main person in the book. And because people would buy the story if the woman wasn't single at the end.
Yeah.
And he said it's romance. And she said, that's mercenary. So that's what Isis got. And I got the bowling hat because back then capital was like a word that women couldn't use because it was a swear.
Wow.
Like
I
instead
didn't
of
know that.
like,
I haven't read that book in forever.
yeah, instead of saying like, hell yeah, it's capital, like that's capital. But
Wow.
yeah. We watched the movie on her birth. We've watched the movie a lot, but it's like her favorite thing. So
What was it? The little doll you said? What was the name of it?
Little Women.
Little Women.
Little Women.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a book that was written back in like the mid
The old book. One of the Bronte sisters, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's
Aw.
the matter?
Well, since it's just you guys, like, what would you most like to do? Do you want to talk about Reiki? Do you want to do Reiki? I mean, it's only the only us, so you guys can do whatever you want.
Can you explain the process of how you do it? Because I know it's not, it's not just holding your hands there. And I mean, I know it's not that. And I know there's a lot of pre to it, a lot of post to it.
So I
Sorry,
want to
Stephanie,
say,
I did not mean to usurp the conversation.
no. I think it's great. And this as a like video that people will be watching after it will be a good video. I've been meaning to make a video to explain this. So here I am double, doing it. The first thing I want to say is it all depends who you talk to, how complicated it needs to be.
Okay.
Some people prepare and have the ceremony, which Dr. Usui did talk about that. Like he misses the ceremony of, what you can do with Reiki. So the preparation and intention and maybe clearing your space, or at least making the intention of, this is what I'm doing here. I'm focusing on this task at hand, and I'm working with this particular person. So you can, especially if you're doing long distance, where you would come on and work on them. So it's not like walking into if you were doing someone in person, just like if you're massaging, especially if it's a brand new person, like you'd have the pleasantries of getting to know each other just a tiny bit and like knowing each other's energy. But if you're working from a distance and it's someone you don't know, especially, it's worth it even before you get on with them to consider being in their energy and making sure that you're ready to be in someone's energy. And I'll be the first one to admit there are times that I'm like running around doing whatever and jump on and do what I'm doing. So, and that, like Michelle, if you're doing, you have a bunch of appointments, like there's not sometimes time to do a lot of pageantry in between each session, like you just do your stuff. So that's why I said there's different schools of thought, because if it's your job and you got a lot of clients going on, you do the best you can in between what you're doing. But a proper way would be to take a few moments, make sure you're centered, make sure that you're, intentionally going into it with the idea of Reiki is not about healing someone else. Reiki is about letting the energy or inviting the energy in to heal the other person. And it's between the energy and the person, and you're just like the conduit. And it is about the other person. Like I try to encourage the other person to literally make the intention themselves, to be open to the energy, to be open to healing, be open to understanding if there's something they need to know, stuff like that. So there's basic things that are helpful. And then there's also those things that you can determine for yourself that, maybe you wash your hands before you do Reiki because it lets your hands feel cleaner. Or maybe you meditate for 10 minutes to make sure that you're centered and grounded, and separated from other people's energy that maybe you just worked with too. That Raku symbol, the like lightning bolt symbol, I find really like a quick separator from your energy and someone else's. So whatever your preparation, a lot of people will do the whole protection thing. I never ever do it. I never do. Like I am not one that puts up protection. If I am in a situation where I feel like I'm dealing with something that's not friendly, then I will immediately raise my energy and call in the people that I work with, which would be like Michael and Jesus. But and that's a personal thing. Some people feel like they need to. Some people, I just don't worry about it. And I think it's a belief system, and what you believe is your reality. So if you do believe you're going to bump up against things that are going to be catching on to you or whatever, if you believe it, protect yourself. If you don't really worry about it, I don't worry about it. And even when I see scary stuff, it's more like, what are you doing here? And, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Okay. So then as you're meeting with your client, if it's a brand new person, we talked about this last week, like, what do you say you're doing? Like, what am I doing here? So if the person knows about Reiki, I always ask, like, have you ever done this before? And if they say yes, then you're starting with someone who knows a little bit about what you're doing. If they say no, I usually start off really simple and just say, there's energy all around us. Your body is super smart and it knows where it needs healing. And I'm just here to help deliver that energy to you. And then explain, you might feel heat, whether you're in person to person or online, they might feel heat. They might feel like a buzzy feeling. They might feel, I've had a lot of experiences where there's like almost like a popcorn kind of thing happening, like popcorn popping underneath the skin. Maybe they'll feel something, like get something intuitively. I'll go through a little bit of that. Like, this could be what you experience. I always say that you can talk during it. If you have questions, feel free to ask. And I'll ask, are you here for a specific reason? So, because I did consider that, like we were talking about this, when you're like kind of asking them directly, like, where do you want me to focus? Maybe avoid that. Maybe start with, is there, are you here for a specific reason within your body, or do you just want like a general Reiki healing? And if you are wanting to share whatever intuitive information you get, you can ask them if they're open to hearing it. And the other way you can go about that is not even saying that unless you get something, and then you can ask the question. So, if you don't want to set yourself up with them having expectations. Because sometimes if you open that door, then they're going to ask you, what did you see? And if you don't want to go down that road, unless something comes, don't even say it. But if something does come up and you see something, I would, you can ask them, are you open to hearing what I'm seeing or feeling? And if they are, then great. If they're not, great. Doesn't matter. So the practical, like the do this, as far as when you're working. Some people use like a teddy bear or a doll to put their hands on.
Mm-hmm.
As if it's the person. I don't like that myself. Some people actually teach that, so maybe if I was taught it that way, that would be how I do it, but I wasn't. So it's not something that resonates with me, but there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of people do it.
I do sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think that, it's fine. It's just, I think the first time I even heard about that was like about 3 years ago. So, it just hasn't been in my arena. The way that I do it, I've been working with almost like I have a office within my energy field. So what I do is I literally almost see them come through a door and have them like sit down or lay down on a table in my office that's in my energy field. That is a little bit of mind work, that you're picturing them not where they are, but you're picturing them with you. But it's been working for me. I've been using that for a while. Another way you can do it is just, they're sitting in front of you on the video or in person. If you're in person, you put your hands on them. But if they're on a video and you're looking at them, you can just literally imagine that you have your hands on them. But for me, I like to somehow imagine that I am in their energy field. But I know I'm throwing a lot of different ways, but there's a lot of different ways, right? You can also imagine your hands and just say, I'm with the intention, I'm sending Reiki to Sheila. Like, so you don't have to imagine them like right on, like your hands on them. If you don't want to, you can just imagine your hands doing the work. I think I used to do that years ago. It was more about my intention and then just activating my hands.
I've used a picture as well before. Back in the days, people had pictures.
I think we have a little problem. I just got a reminder for the Friday healing circle at 6 o'clock.
I thought it was at 5.
When I was sitting here and I was in that other appointment, I'm like, I thought it was at 6, and I thought I was wrong.
I originally had it at 6, and I said, oh, good, I'll just do it at 5. And I changed it because someone asked yesterday, and someone said it's at 5. So I changed it to 5. And that was yesterday, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, and I put it down. I said, okay, well.
That's all right. We're doing a lot of Reiki. This is good though, because this is something I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
All right. So but I think people are gonna start showing up at 6 o'clock.
Oh gosh.
All right. So however you do it, or because you might have people in person, right, Michelle, like because you see people
Right.
You will start, there's a lot of different hand placements in the Reiki 1 module that kind of walks you through head to toe
Mm-hmm.
where you put your hands.
Yeah, I remember doing that with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So all you'll do is you'll just start at the top, and you can tell them, I'm going to put my hands here. You can also ask them, do you mind if I put my hands on your body, or do you want me to be a little bit above your body? And also, if you're uncomfortable putting your hands directly on their body, you can just say, I'm going to, hover my hands over your body. Either way, it's going to work. So it's really about the comfort level of, how you want to do it.
I always wondered if I were a massage therapist, if I were just to call in the symbols and do the massage with their awareness, would that be sufficient? Without having to go with the hand placements?
As far as I am concerned, I think that the hand placements are suggestions.
Yeah, me too.
Because logically, the energy is going to go where it wants to go. You don't have control over it. Right. I mean, you might have control over, okay, I'm going to put my hands on your shoulder and the energy will be there, but it's going to go where it wants to go. Yeah. So, but, there are schools of thought that some people feel the hand placements are really important. But I don't know. I feel like if you really understand how energy works, it's not that important.
Yeah, I get hung up on anything that I do. I get hung up on the semantics. Is that it? Or wording? I just get hung up on it. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to do it. And you just experience it, and then you tell me what you experience.
Well, I think there is that, like, it's programmed just as much as everything else of like how we're supposed to do things. And all I think of is like school, right? Like when you go to school, people learn in a different way. People do math in a different way. People, you know what I mean? There's different ways of doing things. So being able to follow what feels right for you, because your regular teacher is just going to teach you what they learn they're supposed to teach you.
Yeah.
Right. And there are circumstances that maybe you don't want to put your hand, maybe it's a guy that like you're uncomfortable putting your hands directly on them or whatever it may be. So it's really a preference of, do you want to put your hands directly on them, and do they want you to do that?
Yeah. I put my hands, when it comes to the breast area or the groin area, I always go above. I don't
Right.
touch.
And that's what I was going to say. Any sensitive areas that like you normally wouldn't touch someone in public or a stranger, you're not going to go up and just like, you don't
I
want
used to
to
do that all the time. I still do it. I'm a very touchy person.
Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's
But-
like, hi.
I'm going to hang out with you. But, like be mindful of, there are hand placements so that like if you're doing someone's chest, you can put your hands this way and this way. Well, it would be like this way and this way. I can't really do it on myself, so that, in between the chest, but asking permission. You can put your hands like in the groin area, but not like in the middle. But I would always ask, are you comfortable with this? Because some people might not be. Okay. So how do you get started?
Yes.
So that's probably what your original question was, but I got to start from the beginning.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do?
So what you do is you're either visualizing like sending the energy or touching them in your energy field, or in your, like, however you're delivering the energy to them. Or if you're in person, you'll start from the top of their head.
Mhm.
And as you get used to it, you're going to find shortcuts. So I'm going to tell you start out like this until you get used to it. You'll start by using the chokorei. So it's like Reiki on. You can say to yourself, you don't have to, people will teach you at the beginning, do it 3 times using your imagination on the back of your hand. I like the symbol, so I'll be like spinning my, spinning my imagination. But once you understand the feeling of the symbol and the intention of it, you can basically just like imagine the symbol. And I'm always like, okay, I'm starting Reiki now in my head. When you're doing it, you should come to a like subtle noticing of the energy running. So when you say Reiki on, you may feel a little bit of a like flow coming from your hands. And then if you're doing the long distance healing, after you turn on the Reiki, you can do your long distance healing, the Honshu Seishonen. I do not go through all 17 lines or whatever, however many lines there are. I basically imagine the symbol on my hand. Do you need to do that? Not necessarily. If you believe that you're doing it, you're doing it. So the symbol is not going to make you able to do it. The symbol is about having the understanding that it's possible. So you don't even really have to use this. If you completely believe that I can do this, we're all connected, you don't really even need the symbol. But the symbol's nice, and it kind of like the symbol is made for allowing healing to travel. So, it's that extra gas in your tank. And then if you're working with like their heart or their mind or somewhere that it feels like they need emotional healing, then you can use the little Seiki emotional healing. But either way, the symbols represent the action that you're doing. So again, if you're thinking about emotional healing, you can connect your heart and ask to deliver like healing to their heart to help their heart feel better. You're going to get the same results as you would using that symbol, because it's about that connection and emotional healing. So it's about the intention and the belief of what you're doing. The person does not need to believe in Reiki to receive Reiki and have it like help them. And you don't really even like, if you some people are brought up, oh my God, that scared me. Some people are brought up on stuff like this, right? Like your mom tells you like you can heal this by blah blah blah, so they don't need a Reiki attunement because they already know they can do it, because we can do it. So you do your symbols, you bring your hands to the place that you want to start, and then you be the observer. As you get practice, you'll notice that you may feel the energy flowing. You may notice your hands get hot. And then at some point, you'll start to feel like intuitively it's time to move on to the next place. Until, like, if you don't feel that, stay there 3 to 5 minutes and move to the next place. So you can move to the next place if like in your mind, it's been 3 or 5 minutes, or in your mind, it's like, okay, it's time to go to the next place. So it can be a very intuitive practice. And then you just repeat and repeat. If you want to go according to the hand placements to begin with, you'd be here and you'd be here and you'd be here and you'd be here and you'd be here, and you just move down the body. You manage your time if it's a 30-minute appointment or an hour appointment. Do you have any questions around like that part of it?
Mm-mm.
And then when you're done, well, I'm going to say this isn't going to be for everyone that would be at like the beginning part, but we're doing body scans. So if you wanted to, the other thing that you can do is, if you're in person, you can scan their body. So you go along their like auric field outside to feel what you feel. So I remember my Reiki master teacher, my very first, like, because it was like a 6-month thing that I went through. She said, I want you to scan my body and tell me which toe I broke. So I know I've never done anything like this before. And I put I scanned over her foot, and I got this like electric jolt in my hand from her broken toe. So I knew, right away which one it was broken. So practicing like just a few inches over the body, scanning, what does the energy feel like? You can get feelings of like what may feel blocked, or there might be extra heat with inflammation, or maybe they did break a bone and you can still, like in their auric field, it's still something's torn or not right. So that's a nice place to practice. So it's the same, like if you're doing long distance scanning and you're, using your mind, but in person's kind of cool because you can feel stuff, with your hand, you can feel stuff. And then after, when you're all done, then I always say to like smooth the feathers, smooth the energy field, whether you're in person or not. If you're not in person, you can just kind of imagine with, your imagination smoothing down, and use whatever you use to separate yourself from their energy, and then have the conversation. If you saw anything, if you want to share any information, always encourage them when they're sitting up to be like, just like massage, really mindful about how they feel, because some people can be a little dizzy or lightheaded. If you're on camera, like you're doing a long distance healing and they fall asleep, sometimes that can be kind of weird because you're like, hello. You just kind of go with the flow of whatever, if I've had to wake someone up in person. I've never had to like hang up on someone if I'm working with them online. But I imagine, I don't do a ton of Reiki though, so I imagine that must happen to some people.
Hmm.
Um,
I wake people up all the time.
yeah, I bet you do. In person,
That's
it's
good.
so
But
Yeah.
turn over.
Like
it's like
taking
that with
time.
yoga too. Like you do shavasana and then you're like,
Mhm.
oh, snore, they're
I was
snoring.
gonna say, you hear the snoring all around.
Yeah, it's great.
That's funny.
And then, when they're leaving, you might want to say to make sure and drink extra water, stay hydrated, and they might be a little fatigued the next day or, feel a little out of sorts. And that the energy that they got, it's lasts for like a week, the actual session, the energy of, so they may see or feel something different for the next week or so. If you ever get the question like, oh, I feel great, is this forever? You know what I mean? Is what you did, is this like the new me? And I would never tell someone it may not last, it won't last, but I never will say, oh yeah, you're all, it's all better, because it's really up to them to maintain whatever, like I always see like the blueprint, it looks like a graph, and when you get Reiki, it really does straighten out some of the like damage that we've done with our emotions and all of that. But then if you're going to get up off the table and go back and do the same thing you were doing before, you're going to end up in the same situation with the same stress and the same parts of your body.
Yep.
Okay, so is there anything I left out?
I don't think so.
It was weird for me to do Reiki with someone watching me. I've always done distance, not via Zoom. And I use my bear, and then I will let them know when I'm starting and when I will end. Then I will reach out to them and say, hey, what if I got anything, or asking them how they're doing. So it's so intimidating to see them on there. It appears that in my mind, I'm more comfortable, let me just say that, doing it not while they're there online. I'd rather be in my own little space, and then I connect better that way.
I wouldn't say like one is like to do one over the other, but I thought this was charging, but the plug is not plugged in. If you imagine, and this is a personal thing for everyone too, if you imagine that you're the client and you're getting like a Reiki session from someone, would you prefer them like conversing with you and talking about what's going on and telling them like where you may be placing your hands? Or would you feel better to not be in that connection and talk to them? Like if you were the client, how would you feel about it?
I was always okay with not being on here.
Right.
Just land, I would tell them I would be okay, which I've had, just lay down and receive.
Right. Because there's no right or wrong way.
Right.
At all. It's all like if you can see it from both perspectives and then
Oh, I can.
go the way that makes you feel, then it's up to you.
And the client, and the client as well. I can offer either way, Zoom or just going into the field and maybe have a conversation afterwards on the phone or whatever. But I don't charge, so.
Well, so there's a couple of things I would say about that. One, are you not doing it because of your like fear or your discomfort. So, you know what I mean? Like, if you're making the decision around that, are you making it from I think it'll be more effective and it's the best way to serve someone,
No,
or
no.
making it from I don't like to do this?
No, it's just what I've done.
Right.
Not that I wouldn't want to do Zoom, but I have the difference, or I have the opportunity to now compare.
Right.
So for me, I'm more comfortable not being on Zoom. Me personally, I seem, because then my mind is not chattering.
Yeah.
If I'm in my own space and I'm
Right.
sending it, I'm more calm. But if I'm on Zoom, I got stuff going in the background.
Right.
For me. But I'm okay doing it. But again, I'm not charging. I haven't charged anyone. People have maybe sent me a donation and had really good results. But yeah, being on here is just, I just got to get used to it. But I have a lot of mind chattering.
I'm the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not in front of me, I get super distracted.
Oh,
I'm like complete, but it is weird when you're like closing your eyes and doing your stuff and they're just, but I mean, you can encourage them to like lay down, and, a lot of times people will take their phone and either put it beside them laying down, or not even, you could even say, this is something that you could do. Ask them to just put their phone down or turn the camera off, because it's distracting to you to see them. It might just be the way you work, if it's more comfortable for you, or shut your camera off too. You can just say, I can focus. This is the way that I focus the best. So I'm right here and you can hear my voice. That way you can kind of talk to them, but they're not seeing you.
that sounds a good idea.
Georgie.
Yeah.
How about you, Michelle? Do you have anything that?
Mm-mm. I mean, I'm used to being with people and talking to people through sessions, so I guess I'm a little different, but energy work, like I said, I've done reconnective healing and a couple other things, so it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah,
I'm okay in person.
Yeah.
Just this
On Zoom, yeah, I don't think I've never done anything on Zoom, but I don't think I'd be any different.
Mm-hmm. Now, how would you, if you don't mind me asking, Michelle, how would you use Reiki in your massage practice?
What I would do, I think literally it's like when you do massage, you're moving energy around. So I think it would probably be better to do the Reiki afterwards.
Okay.
It's almost like you smooth everything out. You go through the muscles and you do move energy when you do that. So in my brain, it makes more sense to me to do the Reiki afterwards, because it's like you've gone through, because massage with me is not always pleasant.
Okay.
I'll be honest. And everybody's like, oh crap, she's got that thing I have a T-bar they call the terrorist, right? Because it's like you get in there in the joint space and it's not always fun. So I'm not a fluffy person. I'm serious. I'm not the fluffy person. And I tell that people that up front. People, if I get referred, it's the same thing. It doesn't feel good, but you feel good afterwards. So from that standpoint, I mean, if I were to do it beforehand, it feels like it would wreck everything.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So.
Because then after you got the kinks out,
you
relax, and now you can.
Like then you can just kind of.
Yeah.
Goes through.
Good. This is a great conversation. I think it was really very, very helpful. And I think what I'm going to do, because it's in 6 minutes, we have another hour. Or I
go.
I'm going to have us pop off so that it'll shut this down, and I'll make 2 different videos. So this video will be kind of dedicated towards how do you do a session? This was helpful to me because I was going to have to make this video this weekend. So
Yeah, Michelle says she has to go. I'm
Yeah.
tired, but I don't know if I will work on somebody if it's only 2 people in there. It just depends on who shows up.
yeah, don't feel obligated to come, really. I think there's only 2 people, which may even mean 1 person shows up because, and I think that there'll probably be a couple more people that show up. So
Right.
don't feel, I'm going to hop off and then I'll hop back on at 6:00 and.
Well, text me if you need me.
Okay.
I'll leave it open like that. If you don't need me and you got enough people, I got things I could do.
All right, cool.
That's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
This
Thanks
is
for
fun.
asking that question, Michelle.
Yeah.
This was really fun. I really enjoyed this. But I
Me
like
too.
all this stuff.
I don't know. It's great though. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to hang out and learn at the same time,
Right.
from each
That's,
other.
we learn from each other. That's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, have an
Awesome.
awesome weekend.
You too.
We'll see you Sunday, maybe, right?
Sunday, yes. Michelle, are you signed up for your Reiki?
I am signed up for that. Yeah. Perfect. Awesome.
All right.
See you
All
then.
right, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.